Good night, everyone, and welcome back to Nocturnal Corner with Bat. Today's epic weapon showcase is going to be the Elephant Turret Cannon, and this cannon is basically going to be a cross between the Fatman and the Executioner. So let me explain what I mean by that. Is basically, so we're going to look at the Fatman similarities. It's going to be 6 point of energy, so you can only have 2 of these and a few other modules, most likely a reload module. It's going to be a bit average on weight, so, maybe a little harder to build with light builds, but still definitely durable like the Fatman. And what it's really going to be similarities with the Fatman is basically its durability. It's going to be a tough little cannon. It can definitely take some punishment, and since it is a turret cannon, you definitely want it to, since it's going to be a slightly larger weapon that you're going to have to set on top of your vehicle so you can get the most out of it. And obviously it's a turret cannon, so it's going to be able to spin around all the way. Now, when I say Executioner, is basically, it's not going to have as much blast radius as the Fatman, so you're basically having nearly no blast radius with this weapon, and it's going to have like a very good velocity and a very good bullet drop, so you can actually launch this thing pretty far. And it does have a little bit of armor penetration with this thing, but it doesn't really feel like it's doing that much either. But I believe those are what this weapon was trying to go for with the Executioner. Now, this weapon also did get buffed, that's why I held back on this one, and it got a 15% damage increase. It went from 80% to 100% on the penetration, and it also got improved accuracy, which is nice, even though this thing already felt very accurate on its own already. Now, those are a lot of positives, so I can say that the Elephant definitely has a lot of positives to it. It is strong, it is accurate, and you can easily hit your shots compared to other turret cannons. This actually might be the easiest turret cannon to snipe with, just because it feels more like a frontal cannon. Now, the big drawback, and the reason why I don't think anybody uses it, and this is the one that kind of makes me sad, is because I have fond memories of the Elephant cannon, and it's that it feels like it does no damage. Like, it feels like if they didn't give that 15% damage increase, I believe it was hitting on par with the Hulk, except the Hulk was out damaging this one just because it's easier to build around the Hulk, and basically the Hulk could reload faster, so you were getting a better fire rate. So I believe this thing was actually getting out damaged by a special weapon, which is pretty sad. And since it doesn't have the blast radius of the regular turret cannons, it feels like it's doing less. Like, I see that it says like half-half with the damage hit and the damage like explosive, but it really doesn't feel like it's doing all that. So you really need to be warned that this is going to be a very easy weapon to use, but also very hard and frustrating, just because it's going to feel like when you're hitting your marks, you're not going to really feel like you're doing a whole lot. Now, can you get lucky with it? Yes. It feels like it's meant to snipe something, but at the same time, it's really hard to do that with a cannon. So it's something to keep in mind. And what I mean by snipe something, I mean like trying to pick something off, like if you're trying to shoot a scorpion or something and take off like a weapon or something, which it's possible, and that's definitely what this weapon feels like it's meant to do. But again, it's a cannon, so that's really not easy to do. So besides that, it's basically in design, and the reason I'm getting at this is one of the big positives about it is just because it looks cool as hell. Like, let's be honest, this is a T-34 cannon, I believe, and you can get a skin that makes it the Sherman Jumbo. So out of all the cannons, it's probably going to be the only real-world one that actually looks pretty cool. So let's get to the builds. This is going to be our first build right here. I actually had to modify this one. I had to put the oppressor engine and whatnot and some other things just so that it could actually run. And this is going to be the Jelinski by Konch Evekanik. I have no idea if I said that right, but I'm not going to show you this version because this one really can't move at all. I'm going to show you the modified version that I've had for a very long time, and this is probably one of my favorite elephant builds, just because it's speedy. You can get that perk very well, so it feels like you can go around the enemy. And a lot of the turret cannons that I've seen, this is probably one of the better ones just because you see all that room that these two cannons have. Usually people build around like either the front or the top one, so it's like they're trying to build it for a frontal weapon. But you can see it's decently speedy, feels very good, and it's also going to have that reloading part from the Echo Cabin. So very nice. The Echo Cabin is also pretty fast, so this build is very solid and very tanky. Now I am going to go back real quick just so I can show you what I mean by it feels like a frontal cannon, which if you've been playing turret cannons, you know you're going to have to raise up a little bit and whatnot. But here, just check out the velocity and basically bullet drop. Like, look at that. Very easy to snipe with. And if you know where those explosive bits, this might be the one cannon that you specifically, actually, well, I was going to say specifically need with Falcon, but I'm going to say that for the one specific turret cannon that you might benefit primarily from Falcon, just so you can see the explosive bits, because this is what this cannon really feels like it's for. Because you saw I already hit this cabin once. Yep, hit it again. That was 2 shots. 3 shots. Yeah. You can see what I mean. That's a vehicle that is just light, literally meant to be shot at your range, and it had to take, what was that, the equivalent of 8 cannon shots to bring it down. And, man, I was thinking about making this video where I was doing commentary with this weapon, but I'm telling you, I was raging a little bit just because of the lack of damage that it felt like I was doing. There you go. There's your blast radius and damage. However, I feel like it's a little bit not showing exactly, because if you actually make contact, you're going to be doing that 290. So it's probably because of blast radius or something, but basically think of it, if you hit 1, it's 145, if you hit 2, 290. So common sense there. But this is going to be the first build we're showing. Very, very solid build. This is probably the only high power score build that I could get that actually made it feel like it did something. So on to our next build. I actually didn't use a build from in there. I just used this thing. It's basically going to all be the same, except I changed out the ammo box for an extended, and I put I put 2 elephants on top of it. So just so you can see the driving, it's not very quick. It definitely has a big drawback in the front to where if somebody hits you, your whole build just goes up in the air thanks to those tracks. Since these tracks were meant to go over trenches in World War I. Let's see if it'll do it. Yeah, you see right there, if somebody hits you, it's like so easy to flip you for some reason, or just get you right out of the way, or even expose your underbelly, so be warned with if you're just going to run these tracks and nothing else. But this is basically going to be the second build, just with 2 elephants, not a Fatman. Next up, if it loads, is going to be this one. Oh, and just so you know, that other build, if you don't have that DLC, it's running the Jawbreaker, and the Jawbreaker got buffed to where it's going to be a smaller version of the Humpback, so I am going to be getting damage for getting shot with that Jawbreaker. I believe it's up to 15% bonus damage with that one. So the next one is going to be Tank by Disc Golf Dave. This is another very good build. Of course, it's on Omni wheels, and Omni wheels make everything feel fantastic. Even though this one's a little slow, it still feels great, and you can even get out of some tight situations with the Omni wheels, even if you're going at slow speed. And just so you can see on the cannon, this is that Sherman Jumbo look, so pretty sick. And also you can see right here where they put the armor on the side, so if somebody's on my side, I can't hit them. But thankfully the Omni wheels will help prevent that. So this is going to be another tanky build using both Grizzly and the Ermac cabin. This is actually a very solid build, and I believe it's a bit lower on the power score. Yep, right here. So it's actually a bit more effective there. And it's like I said, if you're going to run elephants, actually I don't know if I said this here yet, if you're gonna run elephants, I don't recommend high power score, like, at all. You'll be hitting your marks and whatnot, but it just won't feel like you're doing anything to the dogs. It won't feel like you're doing anything to the hovers unless you're accurately hitting their hovers off. And it definitely won't feel like you're doing anything to tanky spiders. And it's kind of sad because if you saw, I had another elephant build in here. I know it's this one if it loads. Because one of the things you can do to make it feel more like a Fatman is you can basically just do the king mine with the Hadron, and this thing is just, as you can see, definitely a lot better. But sadly, even when it's doing this, once you start fighting those dogs, once you start fighting those tanky spiders, and your cannon really isn't doing anything, I mean like, look at that. Look at that. That only looked like I killed it fast just because I have rapid fire. Look at that. Yeah, it's not good. I tried this build twice to see if I could record anything, and I'm telling you, I don't have anything to show for this one, or the one with the tracks, or even the one that has, like, you know, the legs, just because these weapons were just not performing at all. They were getting outclassed by damn near everything at high power score. So I do not recommend these in high power score. I definitely don't recommend taking these into clan wars unless that dude is just like their best weapon. But you'll probably be better off with the Hulks, to be honest, if you're looking for damage. And since the Hulks are easier to hide, you might even have like better luck with the Hulks. So I just had this build just to show you that with the Hadron and the King, it can shoot decently fast, but it still doesn't help the performance, mainly because you're not shooting fast at low power score, you're shooting fast at high power score, and it just sucks. I'm gonna be honest with you. Anyways, those are going to be our 3 builds. This is my honest view of the elephant. It kind of makes me sad to say that this weapon just doesn't feel great, and it felt like a chore a lot of the time. It was like tough to even do 1v1s against other vehicles, no matter what weapon they were using. The only time I managed to beat somebody in a 1v1 is when he had 1 cannon and I had the 2. But I digress. Anyways, I hope you find your favorite spot on the ceiling with your little bag of popcorn, and you guys have a great night. And if you enjoy this little bit of commentary with gameplay, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. Oh, and just for future reference, the next epic weapon, I'm going to try to do commentary with the gameplay. I just didn't do it with this one, mainly because I was raging with how little damage I felt like I was doing, and I don't know if you want to hear me swearing to God and telling him, what the hell did you put in this game, why did you let them make this bullshit, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you want to hear me rage like that. Anyways, you guys enjoy and have a great night, everyone. Thanks for watching.